Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Tata Coffee Limited Q1 FY24 earnings conference call hosted by ICICI Securities Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during this conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Varun Singh from ICICI Securities. Thank you, and over to you, Mr. Singh.
Thank you very much, Nirav. So on behalf of ICICI Securities, I would like to thank the management of Tata Coffee for providing us this opportunity to host this call. From management side, we have Mr. Chapo Thomas, MD and CEO of the company. We can kickstart the call with this discussion on the first quarter results, followed by Q&A session. So over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning. This is Chapo Thomas here, and welcome to the call. Before I get into the quarterly operational performance, just wanted to share some of the market conditions that we experienced and also had an impact on the business performance for the quarter. So firstly, I think the good news is that some of the markets that were closed for a considerable period of time for various reasons, like Africa, the MENA region, etc., we see some renewed demand that is actually picking up there. But again, on spray-dried coffee, there seems to be challenges that we see world over. It's not restricted to one particular region. And this, I think, is a temporary phase, and we will see some gradual improvements as we go forward. As far as green coffee is concerned, again, there is some moderation in terms of demand. This has largely been on account of the Robusta prices that have actually shot up considerably. However, on the flip side, Arabica prices have moved down substantially over the last quarter. I think with the Brazil harvest that is underway, this would be an item to actually watch out going forward. Moving on to our Vietnam operations, very happy to report that we have a very solid quarter, both on the back of an excellent performance at the plant working at peak capacity, and a lot of interest that we see on the value-added premium products from this factory. We have a very strong order book for the entire season from our Vietnam plant. Some of the other salient features of the quarter, I think it is pertinent to report that the plantation, especially the coffee plantation area, the rainfall has been deficient, and it's actually only picked up in late July. On the other hand, tea operations in the quarter have had a much better start corresponding to the previous quarter, previous year, same quarter, and consequently better crops and better price realizations. On the financial performance, the total income for the quarter has increased by close to 7.5% compared to the previous year first quarter. Standalone revenue from operations has been up 10% compared to the same quarter. That is 255 crores versus 232 crores of the previous quarter of the previous year, corresponding quarter of the previous year. And these have largely been on account of the higher revenues that we have had from our coffee plantations, the higher prices that we have realized on our instant coffee operations, and of course, as I mentioned earlier, better performance from the tea operations. So on a quarterly basis, the PAT has been at about 27 crores, marginally lower than the corresponding quarter of the previous year, but on the whole, a very satisfying performance. On the consolidated results for financial year 23-24, the quarter we had an income of almost 708 crores, which is 6.5%, 6.25% ahead of the previous year, which is about 666 crores. These again largely on account of the coffee prices that we realize in the plantations and the instant coffee plants across India and Vietnam. And I think the profit after tax for the first quarter is at 62 crores. This is marginally lower than the previous year, and due to the subdued performance of 8 o'clock. Just to spend a few seconds on 8 o'clock, there has been an impact on the results. This is largely on account of some drop in volume of sales that we have seen, and the higher green bean input costs. Despite the several price hikes that we took during the course of the year, very happy to report that we have not lost any market share whatsoever during this quarter. We are now confident that, as I mentioned earlier, Africa prices have come down. We've now moved into stocks that are much better priced, and I think we see great opportunities in the following quarter to improve performance at 8 o'clock. So that's in a nutshell the performance that we've had for the quarter. I now open up the floor for any questions that there may be to us.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. Ladies and gentlemen, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The first question is from the line of Pranshu Jain from Neo Group. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Congratulations on some spectacular results. Sir, when do you get the merger of Tata Coffee and Tata Consumer to get completed?
Thanks, Pranshu. So I have my company secretary, Mr. Anant Murthy here. He'll just take this question.
Yeah. Good morning. I am Anant Murthy here. So just to update you on the current process of the merger. Currently, it's in advanced stages before the NCLT, Kolkata and Bangalore, and we expect to have this order received during this quarter, the final order.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask the question. The next question is from the line of Amol Rao from Kitara Capital. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Thomas. Thanks for taking my question. So, a couple of questions on the broad market. So, you mentioned that there remains certain challenges on the spray-dried side. Could you elaborate a little bit on that, sir? Because what would these challenges be, and are they specific to certain markets?
Yeah. So, thanks, Amol. So, the answer to that is primarily we do see that the Southeast Asian market, which is a large consumer of spray, and also some parts of Africa, which is something, some very specific countries in Africa. I wouldn't like to go into specifics on which country, but these are large buyers of spray, and they do see at the moment, demand as far as consumer demand, falling off. But having said that, we have seen this happen in the past, and pure coffee, which is what we are talking about here, not the non-alcohol type of coffee. We do see demand picking up as we move forward, because as I mentioned, Africa is just about open. So to put things in perspective, it's a couple of geographies which are largely dependent on spray, or rather consume spray, and that too the pure coffee type of spray, which is where we find the spray market in a bit of a turmoil at the moment.
So just an extension of that. So is it correct to assume that this is not actually a structural change? It's basically some economical, political, financial kind of.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right.
Okay.
Because as things stand, instant coffee consumption, as per what we see, continues to be on a secular path of growth, despite the fact that there are several challenges that you see in Europe, where you see recessionary trends, etc. But yet, having said that, instant coffee as a whole portfolio, continues to grow, and it is largely around some of these political issues that you see in certain parts of Africa and certain parts of the Western hemisphere. I think that's where we do see some challenges.
Got it, sir. And so, this is with regards to 8 o'clock coffee. So we had the Keurig part of that business, which is very promising and doing pretty decently as per my understanding. So could you share some light without going into too much? I don't want to press you for numbers, but could you share some light on how that is doing, sir? How's the teapot business doing? The machine business doing? Can it be ramped up? Is it doing well? I mean, something of that nature, sir.
Yeah, sure. So let me answer this question by, I think, going back to the fact that on an overall basis, yes, 8 o'clock has had a tough quarter. But what is very heartening is that we haven't lost any market share. And obviously, this points out to the fact, again, on the economic conditions that prevail in that part of the world, where 8 o'clock is extremely strong. We have added customers. Only problem is that the demand has been muted on account of the economic conditions there. So I would say that the business, the fundamentals are absolutely in perfect condition. It's just once things improve as far as consumption and as far as the thing is concerned, maybe also, as I mentioned, we have coffees. The input costs at the moment also are the consumption that is actually happening is also of coffees that are that were bought at very high prices at that point in time. Because, we have a longer gestation period, and we now move into coffees that are commensurate to the prices that we see coming in. So I think the business is in a good place, especially the fact that you're not losing any market share.
Got it. So and sorry, I'd like to ask one more question. Just putting together your responses to the last two questions. So the sense that I'm getting is that the economic conditions globally are taking a slight bit of toll on, let's say, the consumption pattern and or let's say the offtake, the pattern and the offtake. So is it right to assume that in certain markets there may be down trading, or let's say people are going a couple of rungs lower on the quality of coffee consumption? So is that something that they are observing, or do you think it's just something like a 2, 3, or maybe 4, 5 quarter cycle, which again reverts back to the mean after 4 or 5 quarters?
So even when we talk about down trading, it is pretty much a phenomenon that actually happens for a couple of quarters. That's about it, right?
Okay.
So I would leave it at that. I would say that I think at the moment, yes, there is, and we're all aware that there are inflationary pressures wherever in the Western world we see. But I think eventually this is a matter of couple of quarters where things then pick themselves back again. And it's about people again going back to gourmet coffee, people going back to traceability of coffee, etc. So I think that bit will not go away.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Thank you so much, sir.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Senthil Manikandan from iThought PMS. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Good morning. My first question is with respect to the spray-dried coffee. So you mentioned the challenges on the demand side. So how do you see on the supply side for the next 2-3 years? Any new capacities coming up and things like that? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think supply side, yes, there have been definitely new capacities that have come up on stream in the last couple of quarters, or even before that. And as you know, as has been the case in all these years, while supply comes in, the fact that supply comes in bunches of either 5 or 10,000 tons, and not 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 tons, and that the fact that consumption increases secularly at 1 or 2% going forward, there is always that lag of being able to catch the supply and demand lag, which will continue to be there. Maybe at this point in time, I won't read too much into it because, as I mentioned in my previous response, it is around certain types of coffee, which is pure coffee, and particular type of markets which are under threat, or rather the consumption being lesser, and that, in my opinion, is something that will right itself going forward. I don't think there is any supply mismatch or huge issue between consumption and supply at the moment. Really,
Okay, sir. My second question is with respect to Vietnam. So you mentioned that order book is strong and also you're operating at full capacity. So any plans for expanding the capacity over there?
Yeah, so all options are on the table, right? And this is something that we have seized with. So I'll leave it at that. As I said, all options are on the table, and we are, we will look at whatever it takes to ensure that we continue to grow, sustainably. So all options are on the table.
This is the last question. On the European Union's new norms with respect to the deforestation. So what's your view on that?
Yeah, so I think you're talking about the EUDR, and which is something that I'm very glad that is happening, because the reason being that Tata Coffee, both in terms of sustainability, in terms of traceability, and in terms of practices that we have on our estate, have been miles and miles ahead of any other producer worldwide. The fact I say this is with confidence because we not only imbibe the principles of the Tata Group, which very clearly and categorically ensures that environment, wildlife, and the community are at forefront of everything and anything that we do. So that is one. The second part is we've been already for the last many years supplying our coffees to our consumers and our valued clients with complete traceability. And fortunately for us and for Indian coffee, because coffee is grown under shade in India, and the fact that most of the coffees are grown in pretty much in states which have got extremely stringent laws around deforestation, felling of trees, etc. The forest department and the government are very, very, highly involved in this, issue. We do not see any problem at all whatsoever. So we are very glad that the EUDR regulations are actually, been announced, and we're looking forward to supplying coffees which are totally traceable.
Oh, thanks, sir. That is
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. Next question is from the line of Mihir Shah from Nomura. Please go ahead.
Hi, good morning, sir. Thank you for taking my question. So I have a question on 8 o'clock coffee. You mentioned that volumes were getting impacted due to the sharp price increases that were taken earlier. But now as you start consuming lower price coffee, would this mean that further price hikes are no longer required? And maybe if you can also share your thoughts around, potential price cuts maybe in a few quarters, will that be something that you can think about to support volumes?
It will be very difficult to make a statement at this point whether we are going to take price cuts or we're not going to continue with the same thing, the way we have gone ahead in taking price increases in the past. All I can say is that despite the price increases that we have taken, we have continued to maintain the market share, right? I think any decision on price cuts or price increases largely will be governed on how obviously the input costs are, and of course marketing and sales requirements and exigencies that we may come across. So I won't be in a position to give you any kind of forward-looking statement on what we would do. But yes, I think I'll leave it at the fact that we've managed whatever price hikes that have taken place.
Historically, if you can, share some thoughts on how the mass market has usually behaved when coffee prices have really come off, and competitively you had to kind of match to ensure you maintain your market share. Like, we believe that given that consumption is hit because of sharper price increases, the private labels would have kind of gained some share from other players. Maybe you would have gained from somewhere else, but it seems that some down trading would have happened and some private labels would have gained share. So if they also take or initiate price cuts, would one have to kind of follow suit as well? Historically, any sense that you can share how things have moved in the past?
I don't want to get into specifics, but yes, we have in the past definitely taken price hikes, and they have been following or even in certain cases preceding some of the competition. Again, I mean, let me just leave this on the table. The drop in volumes have been dictated largely on account of the economic conditions, is our reading. And again, putting on the table that not losing market share despite the price hikes that we have taken augurs well for the brand, and for the fact that 8 o'clock is a strong brand in the areas that we play in. So I would not want to get into specifics around would we follow someone, or in the past have we done and how did we do it. I would just leave it at that, if that's okay with you, Neil.
So last question, I just want to check on your other initiatives of avocado and other plantation and potential from those timelines, and if you can share some of those timelines as well.
Absolutely, and I think in the plantations in Coorg, We have the plan on avocado has continued to gather momentum. We are almost at the fag end of one of the largest avocado plantations that you would see in this part of the world, and the production obviously has a gestation period. The gestation period is between 4 and 5 years, and our first set of harvests have already started this year. But it's a very small harvest that we have gotten out from there. The quality, the grades, etc., have been extremely good. Now, starting this harvest season, we will be going into slightly larger volumes, which would again, give us a good sense of how this initiative would shape the sustainability of the plantation business, where we need to, the basic fact that we've spoken about is to ensure that there are adequate number of alternate crops available with us, and we are utilizing every bit of land that we have, because that's the biggest asset that we have. We do see that coffee plantations have been profitable and extremely profitable, as at least in the last couple of years. And with the addition of avocado and several other initiatives that we have put in place on diversification, this will help us go forward. So avocado is really moving in the right direction.
Thank you, sir. That's all from my side. Wishing you all the very best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask the question. Ladies and gentlemen, you may press star and 1 to ask the question. The next question is from the line of Varun Singh from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Thanks for the opportunity. So just wanted to understand, if you can throw some light on our capex plan going forward.
So, I think at the moment we are pretty much. You wanted in numbers, or you want what are the projects? Because there are several projects that we are up to. So
the numbers would be good, and maybe some detailing on that also.
So numbers, I would just leave it at what we were doing in the previous years. We're largely kind of restricting it to those levels, and considering that we are having this transition between from Tata Coffee into Tata Consumer, I think the decision on some of the bigger projects would be taken appropriately, because it's only fair that we do it when that happens.
Understood, sir. Understood. That is it from my side, sir. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. As there are no further questions, I now hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Thank you everyone for joining us on this call. Greatly appreciate, and hope to see you sometime soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On behalf of ICICI Securities Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us. You may now disconnect your lines. Thank you.